Amid his recent great result, Perez just received a massive bombshell from Red Bull. The fact that he is so far away from Verstappen in the championship may cost him a fortune, and the Austrian team won't hesitate in terms of applying this tactic to their second driver. Will this force Perez out of Red Bull, and by how much will his salary decrease if Verstappen continues to humiliate him race after race? Stick around with us to find out more. Sergio Perez had a very strong start to the season, probably his best ever in his career. He shared the first 4 race wins with his teammate Max Verstappen, the 2-time world champion, and everything was going fine for Perez until he openly expressed his desire to become a champion himself. This didn't make Verstappen very happy, and after that Verstappen never lost a race. But the issue was not the fact that Verstappen never lost a race, but rather that Perez's performance took a big hit. He struggled to do well in the qualifying rounds, and his qualifying results were quite bad, even though he was driving one of the fastest F1 cars ever made. Of course, Red Bull are known for being tough and ruthless. They didn't just stand by and watch, and they took action. First, they began exploring other options. One potential choice is Daniel Ricciardo, who was let go by McLaren at the end of the previous season. Red Bull initially brought him in as a third driver and backup, just in case. Ricciardo also stayed in good form and performed well in simulations. He even caught the attention of Christian Horner, the team's boss, during a tyre test after the Silverstone race, which made the situation even more interesting. Then Red Bull made a decision to replace Nick De Vries, who wasn't doing very well in their sister team AlphaTauri. De Vries was one of the only 2 drivers this season who didn't score any points. In his spot, they put Ricciardo to see how he performs and determine if he's the right fit for Sergio Perez's position. Ricciardo now has to compete with Yuki Tsunoda, and of course has to beat him if he wants any chance at that seat. Perez knows this very well as well, and he said that he is unbothered by Ricciardo wanting his seat. This is what he had to say. "I've been in F1 for 13 years, so I'm not a guy who thinks so much further ahead. I've been with the engineers. I don't even have the time to discuss what's going on with Daniel. I think it's a great opportunity for him, and that's it." After Ricciardo joined the team, Perez's performance improved significantly. In the Hungarian Grand Prix, he finished 3rd, even though he started from the 9th position on the grid. Then in the Belgium Grand Prix, he came in 2nd place, right behind his teammate Max Verstappen. Perez even led for a while during the race when he overtook Leclerc at the start, who had started the race in pole position. Not only that, but Ricciardo didn't do so well in Belgium. He finished in the 16th position, only doing better than Sargent and Hülkenberg. Sainz and Piastri couldn't finish the race due to the incident at the start. Perez might have thought he could relax during the summer break, but more bad news came his way. Reports suggest that Sergio Perez might face a reduction in his salary due to a special rule in his contract linked to his performance. Even though he's in 2nd place in the championship, trailing his teammate Max Verstappen, who's a 2-time world champion, Perez from Mexico has received criticism for how he's been performing in the 2023 season. According to The Telegraph, Sergio Perez makes a nice $10 million each year as a driver for the World Championships. However, he could see a decrease in his pay if the points difference between him and Verstappen becomes more than 125 points. This gives Red Bull the ability to change Perez's salary or the money parts of his contract. Red Bull's team leader, Christian Horner, mentioned that Perez's chance of winning the title is almost gone, unless something really bad happens to Verstappen. Horner said, according to Marca, "I think Checo knows that. Barring a disaster for Max, this championship is out of his reach. So it's about maximizing his own performance, not losing out to any of the drivers behind him, and trying to get some wins between them now and at the end of the year." Perez also knew about this clause in this contract when he signed for Red Bull, but it would be interesting to see how this situation is developed further. But as things stand, Checo started regaining form. This is what he had to say about it. "I think just getting that form back. We were on the podium last weekend, and now, I think, having these sorts of races in clean air is where you learn a lot and you make those steps in the coming races. Because my last few races have been a bit of, very hard to get a proper read on them," he said. "Because the way you have to race with dirty air and so on. So that to me is where I think we're going to be learning the most on that stint on free air, and the second stint as well. I think for us it gives us a bit of time to go deep on our analysis, see what we can improve for the next 10 races, and basically keep the momentum going for the end of the season," he added. "In my opinion, Checo is a strong asset for RB. That pairing is proven to work, and it will most likely work well for at least the next 3 years. Whatever opinions people have about Checo, the truth is there isn't currently a second driver who is better than him. Daniel is a nice person and I like him, but he's not superior to Checo. If RB were to replace Checo with Daniel, it would probably make the team worse. That would be a somewhat naive decision in my opinion. The only driver who would likely be a good fit for RB is Lando. I'm hoping Liam Lawson gets a chance in F1, although he will likely replace Yuki at AlphaTauri before moving up to Red Bull. Perez probably won't be able to win the next race as well. The next GP is located in the Netherlands, Max Verstappen's home territory, and he aims to win and break the record for 9 consecutive wins in a row. Max Verstappen has a big lead of 125 points as we head into the summer break. Red Bull's advantage is even larger, and Max could even skip winning any races in the second part of the year and still become world champion for the 3rd time in a row. But as Verstappen keeps winning, with 8 victories in a row now, more and more people are criticizing the sport. Verstappen is becoming the main focus of these complaints. People are saying the sport has become dull. Verstappen is too dominant, and Red Bull is too fast. Some think the FIA should change the rules to make things more fair. Whether a sport feels uninteresting or not is a matter of personal opinion. However, no matter where you stand on this matter, it's difficult to argue that Red Bull should be blamed for it. Formula One teams, just like any professional sports teams, have one main goal: to win. If it meant standing on the winner's podium, they'd gladly accept a less exciting race any day of the week. So why should Red Bull be penalized for achieving that? So it's undeniable for fans to feel a bit frustrated with the current drama in the sport. But that frustration should be directed at other teams for not performing as well. All the teams have to follow the same rules and guidelines. Red Bull simply managed to get the most out of them. That wasn't luck. The team in Milton Keynes has some incredibly smart people working for them, led by Formula One's greatest thinker, Adrian Newey. They, like every other team, have to work hard to keep their best staff with them. This kind of story has happened before in Formula One history. Think about Ferrari in the early 2000s, Red Bull in the early 2010s, and Mercedes from 2014 onward. The sport's history is full of examples where a perfect combination of a fast car and skilled drivers lead to success. But Red Bull isn't concerned about that or the entertainment factor. Verstappen's job isn't to make races exciting, it's to win them. The people working at the factory don't have a specific vibe target for each part they create. As history has shown, every era eventually comes to an end, and no period of dominance lasts forever. This can happen through the involvement of the FIA or the improvement of competing teams. What do you think about Perez's pay cut? Do you think Red Bull will actually go through with the implementation of this harsh measurement? Or is it just a bluff? Let us know in the comments below.